What's up, guys? Patrick Healy here at the 5th Street Gym with my guy, Jhon, Hollywood. Matos, how's it going, man?
Everything good.
Yeah, excited to have you on, man.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
We've been training a little bit. I'm not sparring with this guy, so don't get it twisted, but I threw on the body shield, had Jhon whack me around a little bit in the ring. Dude's got some power, no doubt. But yeah, man, I just wanted to have you on. I think you got like an interesting story, obviously super accomplished on the amateur scene.
Yeah, been fighting forever, close to 100 fights, been fighting since I was like 13, 28 now, so about 15 years of experience.
And you're going to be going pro pretty soon.
So I was going to debut in February a couple weeks ago, but they stopped it due to COVID, so I'm shooting for April in Miami. That's the goal.
There we go. And your amateur background, like, let's talk about that. 7-time national champ, 5-time Florida champ. Mm-hmm. You started when you were like 12, 13?
Yeah, so initially my parents kind of got me into to avoid getting bullied in school. And since my dad noticed I was, pretty good or above average, he kind of was like, look, why don't you go to the ring and start like fighting? So I did that. And he noticed I was actually beating kids who are in the gym, training and sparring instead of like me and my dad, we used to train at the park in Flamingo. So he kind of like started telling me, look, why don't you try winning a couple real sanctioned fights and I'll buy you a car. I'll buy you your first car. And I was like, hey.
That's some good motivation. Yeah, he was like your first promoter.
And then from there, once I started winning my first couple fights, it just became addicting, the thrill, the adrenaline, the competitiveness, and from there it just took off.
One thing I'm really interested in when you see pro fighters like Lomachenko, for instance, who has, I don't even know, 400, 500 amateur fights, some crazy, but you do as well. You have a couple hundred, correct?
Right.
And what I'm interested in is, as a young kid, you're 12, 13, you're racking up these amateur fights. Mm-hmm. How does that like ring experience carry with you to when you're like a grown man? Like, is it totally different, or is it just kind of like, is it just getting those fundamentals kind of burned into your memory?
Right. So I feel like you start someone at 13 versus you start someone at 19 or 20, the adrenaline's not going to be the same. So when you're 13, you're kind of getting used to that. I'm going to fight somebody. I don't know how to react. I'm getting all these butterflies. I don't know how to take them, how to portray them in the ring, how to react to them. You get nervous, you don't know if, you see a bunch of dudes that are great in the gym, and then you see them in a boxing ring and you're like, what the fuck happened? They're in headlights. So pretty much you kind of condition yourself from a young age to kind of like embrace those butterflies towards a better direction and kind of use that nervousness to your potential.
Like harnessing your fear. Like I know a lot of guys talk about that. Like I saw like a old Klitschko interview, both the brothers, and they were asked that question, like, do you guys feel fear in the ring? And they were like, well, like if you don't feel fear, you're probably a loser.
Exactly.
Like, you got to harness that and channel that.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess your question, if I start at 13, I kind of know how to take those butterflies, take that fear, take that nervousness and use it to my advantage versus you start at 20 or start at 21, you don't really have that experience. Mm-hmm. You really just reacting as it goes. So you have a crowd around you, you don't know how to react, people are chanting your name, people are chanting against you. So I feel like all those things can kind of go against you if you're not used to it. Same thing with national tournaments, there's a lot more people.
Yeah, a lot more.
Yeah, so there's national tournaments, there's usually like 3 or 4 rings. So you kind of have an idea of how much more people there are. So you kind of have to like suck that all in and use it positively instead of just freezing and you're fucked.
Those memories as a kid, like in the amateur fights, like getting in there, you think about them now. How do they relate to like your recent memories of boxing? I guess what I'm trying to say is like for myself, like growing up playing sports, you think about as a little kid, it seemed like everyone was really fast and like, you know what I mean? Does it still translate that way? Like, do you have old memories of fights being like, man, that guy was like so fast, and, like so powerful?
Yeah.
And then you see the film and it's like,
bro. But I guess it's just by levels. If you're stuck in this level and you see someone here, you're like, oh my God, they're amazing. Versus now you've grown up, you've leveled up, you're here, you look back at this and you're like, that's nothing.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I guess it comes with experience.
For sure. So like entering the pro game soon, you have a ton of these amateur fights. You've probably seen a lot of guys, right? Like you've seen a lot of guys in the gym.
A lot of familiar faces, yeah.
So when you prepare for a pro fight, like, is the preparation different for you than going into one of these amateur tournaments, or is it kind of like business as usual?
I want to say it's 50-50, because at least for local shows, there's a 50% chance you're not going to fight. So you're going 100% in the gym, but you also have to keep in the back of your mind, you might not fight. There might not be an opponent.
What do you mean by that? Like they might pull out or?
Yeah, so for amateur fights that are local, the chances of you fighting are like 50-50. So I might show up, I fight at 141. I'll weigh in maybe 142, 143. If there's nobody with the same amount of fights that I have or the same weight, I don't have a fight. So I might be 141 versus someone else is 141. He might have 10 fights or 8 fights, and I have 30, an example. Mm-hmm. They're probably not going to match us up just because it's not fair. So we won't fight. When it comes to state tournaments or national tournaments, you're fighting no matter what. So everybody's aware that if you have 10 fights or 5 fights or whatever fights you have, you're going to fight someone who might have 100 or 200. Doesn't matter. But you signed up for it. So I think knowing that you're fighting for sure in the pro game, I feel like it's more of a serious note instead of having fun. Mm-hmm. You're still having fun no matter what, but I feel like it's more of a game time instead of like, let's go out there and have some fun, But I still think the preparation's still the same. It's still the same focus. It's just, like I said, I feel like the program's a little more for sure.
Gotcha.
If that makes any sense.
Gotcha. So in the national championships, you got 7 of them.
Yeah.
You mentioned how your dad got you into boxing at a young age. Was the first one the most meaningful? Like, which one do you hold up as like that was my best tournament?
My first one was the most meaningful one, just because.
How old were you also at the time?
16 maybe.
Okay.
17. So I think that one was the most like emotional for me because obviously it was my first one, but it was me, my dad, my brother, a bunch of kids from the gym, and we all took a risk. We're like, okay, we're winning state tournaments, we're winning like local shows. Let's take it big. Let's go national. So we rented a soccer mom van and we drove all the way to Georgia. It was like a 14-hour drive. I forgot where in Georgia was the fight, but it was 14 hours from Florida. So we went over there and only 2 of us won. No, 3 of us won. Me and my brother won and another kid from the gym. 2 of them lost. 2 other kids lost from the gym. But it was just emotional just because we drove over there and we're like, we got to win this shit. Like we drove 14 hours. Like, I don't know if you guys ever heard that story. Some like warriors or something like that they went to go conquer this island and the captain burnt the ships, and he said the only way we're leaving here is if we win. If not, we're dying up this island. So that's kind of how I felt like, because we're like, look, we drove 14 hours. We were young, so we didn't have much money. We're like, we spent all our money on the trip, on the hotel, on the car. We got to win this shit. So it was emotional that me and my brother both won.
How many fights did you have to win to get into the title? 4. So you got 4 fights.
So it's usually like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But usually the last day's like on a Friday or Saturday.
So all those emotions going into that event, right? I mean, you're like, we got to win this shit, burn the boats type mentality.
Yeah.
How'd you go into that first fight and feel like, all right, I don't want to, blow my load here, like be a little more conservative with my energy, or were you just going in there and you were just
I was in there just like, I'm going to win this shit somehow, Somehow,
so conditioning was never a factor for you.
Even if I was tired, it's the back of my head, I was like, we're in Georgia. I got to get out of here with a win. There's no way I came this far, this much preparation just to like go home with a loss, my first national tournament. I was like, no way.
And how'd you stay motivated to win 7? Once you won 1, you just got addicted to that.
To be honest, the first couple of tournaments that I won, I kind of messed up. I would win and I'd take like 3 months off. Like if I won a fucking WBC belt, which it's wrong. But then I started realizing when I come back to the gym, dudes that were way below me were just outboxing me or out conditioning me. And that should have never been happening just because of the time I took off. So it kind of like made me hungry. Like, all right, this dude's not even supposed to touch me. And he's hitting me and stuff like that. And that kind of like motivated me, and then just winning another tournament, and just like, you know, I'm very competitive. So when it comes to that, like, that's my drive with everything.
So why did you decide now I want to go pro?
I'm getting older, man. I'm getting older. I'm still a kid at heart, but I'm 28. For boxing, I feel like it's a short time frame. So
yeah,
I have the talent, I have the experience. I just feel like waiting X amount of time, it's just gonna help me back. And it's, you know, time is the only thing that we take for granted that we don't have enough of. So that's what kind of made me realize it.
Yeah, that's why I asked, because a lot of guys who, you know, around, I'm going to be 28 soon as well, so we're, you know, it's pretty much same age.
Yeah.
But as far as boxing, like, that's definitely late for a pro start.
Yeah, 100%.
But you're not late to the game. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you've been boxing since you were a little kid. You have 7 national championships, a couple hundred amateur fights. So it's not like you're getting into the sport late. You just chose to start your pro career a little bit later.
Yeah, to take that extra step a little late. I was initially, so before COVID, I had, literally right before COVID, me and my brother had a national tournament that we both also won. And right after that, I was like, all right, I'm going pro. This is it. I want to leave the amateurs on a good note. I just won a national tournament. It was 4 fights back to back to back. And I fought Florida, I fought Bahamas, Jamaica, and Puerto Rico. So I was like, look, I beat all the best ones from there, because if they're coming from Bahamas, they're coming from Jamaica, and they're coming from Puerto Rico, they got to be good, because they're not going to set somebody over on a national tournament who's going to represent Puerto Rico or Bahamas or Jamaica on a bad note. So I beat them all unanimous, and so I was like, all right, I'm going to leave on a good note and go pro. And then quarantine happened, COVID came up, and...
So I'm glad I brought up the Klitschko reference, because you're talking a lot about your brother, how you guys are both running around winning these tournaments.
Yeah.
Like, what's it like when you guys get in the ring? Is it
when we go against each other?
Yeah, does it get a little heated, or
Yeah.
same weight class or age almost?
So we both fight 140, but he's about like 3 inches taller than I am.
Is he younger or older?
He's younger.
Okay, so you beat up on little brother a little bit?
Nah, not even. There'll be days that we'll be like, all right, let's go 50-50.
Yeah.
We start 50-50, the second one person gets hit, then it becomes 100%. My dad will be like, yo, relax. But there'll be days that he'll kick my ass, there'll be days that I'll kick his ass. It just depends on who's sharper that day.
So what are the plans? Are both of you guys going to be going pro?
Yeah, he's also actually going to debut on April.
Okay.
For sure. I believe he already has an opponent. So he's debuting in April in Miami as well. Okay. I'm waiting on an opponent.
So you guys are, is it in your mind at all to like market yourselves as the brothers on these cards, like how the Charlos have done a little bit?
Yeah, I would love that. Yeah. I would love that, especially in Miami. Like, we're both born and raised in Miami. Like, we both have a huge following of friends, people that we know in Miami. We went to high school here, college here. So I feel like Miami would be great, especially for both of us to debut. Yeah. I think it'll be like a lot of tickets, a lot of support, and that's what matters.
For sure. Going back to obviously a little bit later start into the pro career,
right?
But you're not new to boxing, so you can get busy quick. How many fights are you going to try to get in? Like, obviously COVID has slowed things down, but once you get rolling here, are you going to be trying to knock out 4 or 5 fights a year?
Yeah, I'm trying to fight as
like, what's the end goal? Are you looking for a world title?
Yeah, that's the goal. That's always my dream since I was a little kid. I kind of like started falling off that dream as time started getting older. I'm busy with school. I studied architecture for a while, so I kind of like started drifting towards my initial dream for a while, but I'm focused back on it. So that is the dream. I mean, I would like to fight as many as I can. Obviously, if I'm healthy and everything goes as planned.
For sure.
But that's the goal.
That's awesome. We're headed for world titles, huh?
Yeah.
Bring them to Miami. Get the brothers in the same night, the promotion, the whole thing.
Yeah, that's it. That's the
I'm
goal.
about to put my Eddie Hearn suit on and sign it right now.
That's the end goal.
Yeah, that's exciting. So, like, you've been in Miami, all around different gyms. I'm sure, like, why Fifth Street? I know you're here a lot. You train here. You have clients here that you personal train.
I love Fifth Street. I mean, Fifth Street, I believe we started training here when we were, like, 15. This might have been, like, our first, like, real gym that we were at for a while. We initially, when my dad first got us into boxing, into sparring and stuff, there were a couple of gyms, like, in the hood or whatever, like North Miami or, like, somewhere in Southwest, like Spanish gyms and stuff like that, and we liked it, but it just never felt like home. It was always like, we were the outsiders, the kids from Miami Beach and stuff like that, and it was just never welcoming. We would just go there, spar, we train, and it just wouldn't feel at home. And then one day my dad met Dino, they spoke, whatever. Dino welcomed us to the gym, and since then it's been like family. So we love it. I wouldn't want to train anywhere else, regardless of what happens or any other gym that might come up. I think Fifth Street is, for me, it's like home.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk about boxing right now.
Right.
Pro boxing scene. You're about to enter. Shock the world soon.
Yeah.
But 140, are you going to stick around at 140, do you think?
I think so. I mean, I'm getting older, so I feel like my body's changing. But in the amateurs, I won 2 nationals at 152.
Okay.
Which is, for me, it's super heavy. I was weighing in like 148. And the only reason I didn't drop to 140 was I was being lazy about the diet. But those dudes are big. At least for now, I would like to. I'm gonna enter the pros at 145, 140. Just feel it out, see how it is there, see how I do with the weight management. But with my height, I think ideally I would like to be at 135. Start off at 135 and see how I feel. But it's been a while since I've had to like make weight for a fight, so I need to know how my body reacts to it, how camp goes with everything, and just how I perform in the fight, to the weight. I've never fought at 135. The lowest I fought was 141. So just gotta see how it feels.
Well, it's good because the lower weight divisions in boxing right now are on fire.
Yeah,
like, obviously, like the average fan or like kind of casual boxing fan, like the heavyweights are on fire with Tyson Fury and all those guys. So that's been good for the whole sport. But like the lighter divisions,
they're killing it.
Are crushing it right now too, all the way from 130 and up. So you got the 135 division, of course, hot, big names in there.
Yeah.
Like, what are some of the guys from 130 to, let's say, welterweight or even junior middle that are stick out to you, or who do you think is going to reign supreme? Let's start at 135 because there's a lot of talk around that right now. With Lomachenko looking to fight Kambosos soon.
Yeah.
Teofimo, we don't know what he's going to do.
Supposedly he's going up to 140.
Yeah.
But Teofimo used to be in the amateurs with me and my brother in fights, so we used to see him all the time in the amateurs and the tournaments and stuff like that. But as far as like, I like Ryan Garcia, to be honest. He has a lot of flaws. Like he's definitely like closes his eyes a lot. He's defensively not as skilled as he should be, but he's fast as shit. He's fast. He's very.
So
accurate.
You like him to be the guy?
Oh, to be the guy.
2 years from now, 3 years from now, who's going to have the belts at 135?
I don't know, man. I think it's between Ryan, David, and
Loma. You got Kambosos right now with all of them.
I don't think Kambosos is going to last that long with the belts. He's explosive. He trains hard as shit. He has great conditioning, but I just don't think he's going to be able to outlast someone who's as technical as Loma.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting. Like, I would probably agree with you there. Like, I like Kambosos. I think, like, obviously he was an amazing performance against Teofimo.
Yeah.
But do I feel like it was an upset?
Yeah, for sure. It's like Andy Ruiz.
Yeah.
He didn't last that long with the belts. It was definitely an upset, but I don't think he's going to keep him that long.
Well, talk to me about Loma. He's got to have some influence on your game, right? If you're looking at those guys.
Loma, he's great. Like, he doesn't get hit. He's very technical. His footwork is crazy. He's technically just dancing in the ring. He doesn't get hit much. He's very precise with his punches. I like Loma. I really like Loma.
That was interesting. You said Ryan Garcia too, just because he just changed camps.
He did.
Joe Goose in camp, and there's a lot of controversy around him, but a lot of questions to be answered very soon. We'll see.
He's also a big social media star, so sometimes you kind of question, is his head all in the game, or is he more on social media? You never know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
He might be hype. But Luke Campbell, that was a good win. We'll see what happens. But just to close things out here, appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
And excited for your first pro fight coming very soon. Why don't you give the fans a shout out where they can follow you on IG?
Follow me at Jhon_Doe. They'll probably tag me, so you'll know where it's at.
We'll tag him and make sure to go check out his page and pro fight coming very soon. We'll have to do another one.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Right before the fight.
100%, right before, right after.
Go to YouTube, hit subscribe. Appreciate you guys. Keep liking these videos. Thanks for coming on.
Always, man.
Awesome.
The Pod Matrix.